My laptop mouse has like a grounding, like the trackpad has a grounding issue, and so like the cursor just like does crazy weird things. So if I decide to like jump off this call in the middle of it, it won't be on purpose. Just
Fair enough.
I'll keep recording with the terrible audio that I'm currently transmitting.
It's all right because the content is just going to make your voice sound sweet as silk. Is that a saying?
Also,
Yeah.
how sweet is silk?
You've had the
Silky
the
as
soy
sugar,
milk,
bro.
Silk brand chocolate milk.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, you can get it. You can get it sweetened, and yeah, pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Harper is like a fine soy milk. I've always thought, or some nut milk.
No comment.
I couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah, so just prepare to.
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
I got my sweet jerk off. Put some shoes on.
That train is off the track.
Who doesn't love the bouncy castle?
Hitler.
Just prepare to. Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly, or whenever we need to, Pacers podcast. Today is Wednesday, June 11th, 2025, and this is episode 773, coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, one topic, Game 3, NBA Finals, Pacers, Thunder. Be there. Be square. We're going to talk about this. Joining me this show are two of our three analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatables? 2-1, bitches.
Nice.
And from where are you hailing from today, Harper?
I'm currently in Locust Point. I'm in the B-More, baby.
Okay. In Baltimore, Maryland. Out west?
Out
West
out
of
east?
You're still west of somewhere.
I am east of Jason.
Yeah. He's
I
not
always thought
west
that
of
the
much.
west was... I always thought it was the hemisphere. But whatever.
Sure.
Fair point. The West is the
But
best.
it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, fellas? Shout out to Ryan and all the Locust Point boys. We are going to get you on the show one of these days.
Shout out.
It's got to pass committee, but we can talk about
Well, they definitely were talking a little trash earlier because, they're hilarious.
All right, they're on. All right. Well, before we get into the show, I do want to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest-running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables. And you can support our show for as little as $1 per month. Guys, I just watched a basketball game, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and I don't say that sentence a whole lot.
Not in the last 24 years or so.
It's been a minute. And Pacers took Game 3, 116-107 in, I'd say a good quality basketball game. Of course, the Pacer podcast does root for the Pacers, but it was close for most of the game. No big leads really either way, and Pacers really close strong. The Thunder did outplay the Pacers in the first quarter. Really, they won the first and the third quarters, and Pacers won the second and the fourth more handily than the others were won. And Pacers get the win, up 2-1, and ready to close this sucker out. Hey, Jason, I think at the end of the last show I called for a Benedict Mathurin game. What did we get today?
We got a Mathurin masterpiece, my friend. What did he go? He's 27 points. Led the team in scoring 27 points on 9 of 12 shooting, and 7 of 8 from the line. Grabbed 4 boards for good measure.
22 minutes. In there. Deuce.
Played some solid defense at times, and yeah, just had it rolling. That bench, he was a big part of that, but the bench in general showed up today. We talked about that as well in our previous pod. But yeah, Pacers looking like the Pacers again. Dropped a 40 burger in the second quarter. I didn't know if we were going to be able to do that against this OKC defense. And then, yeah, closed out the game 32-18. They closed them out in the fourth quarter. Everybody making plays. It was the defense. It wasn't necessarily the offense that was getting things done. It was the defense. You know, you look at the box score and the numbers, and, you know, we lost the rebounding battle. We didn't. We lost the 3-point game.
Don't look at the stats. There is no way we won this game.
We lost the free throw game. They made more free throws than we attempted. But this team just created 17 turnovers and held the Thunder to, 46%, 47% shooting, which is still pretty good shooting. I don't know, but we just created enough more possessions, I think, was the key. And won this game. Halliburton was aggressive from the tip, and that filtered down to everybody else. Everybody else was aggressive as well. Harper, what did you see?
Well, and I mean, they also shot the ball 45% from 3-point land to our 33%. When I look at our team, I need, at least 6 guys in double figures. We didn't get it. Right, we've got Siakam, Halliburton, TJ with just 10 and Mathurin, 4 guys in double figures. I don't understand where all these points came from.
Yeah, it is interesting. Did they add this up right?
When you look when you look at the stats, you're like, how did we get there? But watching the game,
I can tell you where some of them came from. Some of them came from Caruso passing to TJ McConnell, who was under the basket.
Mm-hmm.
So many McConnells. I was lucky enough to watch this with my family and got to explain to them what a McConnell was in the first quarter and the second quarter and the fourth quarter.
That's awesome. That is amazing. And then once again, shout out to Nemhard, who didn't have a great scoring game, but made a couple huge shots down the stretch. And played amazing defense on Shea, who looked worn out by the end of the game. He played 42 minutes tonight, and they were a hard 42 minutes that he had to play.
Yeah, continue to keep up just amazing pressure against these guys. Our defense was, not perfect, but in a 48-minute game against the number 3 offense in the league, we give up 107. And against, we didn't hit 120, but against, I heard arguments today online that the OKC might be the best defense ever, and we post 116. Just kept going at these guys. Mathurin is like our mascot. Right? Just like there's no fear in that guy. He's just going to keep coming at you over and over. Halliburton, very steady. more turnovers than he would have wanted, and one late in the fourth quarter that I know he could have lived without. After we had forced to stop, I think we're up 6, and it looked like we're in a position to really ice the game. And Caruso, being the gadfly that he is, manages to poke it away. Forces it to. But this was a really gutty win. Shout out to the home crowd on their feet throughout the fourth quarter. We needed every bit of that. But it was a very professional win at the end of the day. We're so used to winning a certain way in this playoffs that I get a little lead and I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. I just I have no idea what's gonna happen here. 1d6, just like I got no idea. But these guys, they went out there and they handled it, and it was an impressive win in a really pressure-packed environment. Sure, you're at home, but I am really impressed with that win. It was a really good one. And against this team, you can't afford to lose 2 in a row because they never lose 2 in a row. So this was a big one.
And Joe, yeah, you mentioned it off the top. Didn't get off to the greatest start. What did we lost the first quarter?
34-24. 32-24.
Okay, yeah, which was closer than it felt at times.
Yeah.
OKC came out with playing great defense as they always do, and it still looked like we hadn't
smothering in the first quarter was just smothering.
Yeah, and it was like we hadn't really solved anything. But I thought that, they kept with it, the team. I thought once McConnell came in, they really started picking up the pace, and then that continued for much of the rest of the game. There were a few spells where it slowed down, namely coming right out of halftime. I think OKC opens the third quarter with the 8-0 run, and just kind of, they whooped us in that third quarter, I will say. But again,
which concerned the hell out of me. I really thought that third quarter was going to be the key to this game. I was real concerned.
I was right there with you, yeah. But the resiliency of this team, and again the bench, like just keeping it coming, And Carlisle was pushing all the right buttons. I thought it was really interesting. OKC had a lot of success with that double big lineup in game 2, and Carlisle kind of countered it by going super small and was like, all right, let's just do this. Yeah. And I think we probably lost the rebounding battle in that stretch, but created enough chaos that
we were just spreading them wide and letting Nembhard break down all the boards somehow. I was like, amazing.
Yeah.
I thought so. Halliburton ends with 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 boards, 4 turnovers as well, 2 steals, and a block. But I thought he did a good job really early, sort of being more aggressive. That like we talked about, he'd been been passive, and then kind of in the second and third, I think he took a. Maybe at least in the third for sure, but I think some in the second as well. Just kind of, facilitated, and then really late in the game, maybe in the third, but definitely in the second half, he really started to get more aggressive with his shot and make us forcing the issue. And I think when we needed his contributions, he was making it happen. So. I thought he had a great game, 4 of 8 from 3, of course, which is, very helpful.
Yeah. He had a good game, but it wasn't like, it really wasn't an incredible game. It was just.
Right. Agreed.
He went out there, hit his spots when it, he didn't force it in weird ways, which I sometimes want him to do more than he does, I think. Mm-hmm. And, when it was there for him, he took it. And when they showed a stat, it was like, 20 and 10 assists, and we're like 10 and 1 in the playoffs with this guy or something. He's just
20 and 1 in regular season and playoffs combined.
Yeah, there
something
you go.
like that.
The straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, just massive. And I think we mentioned earlier, Miles Turner, 5 blocks in this game. A huge one towards the end on Chet Holmgren when the game was still a 2-possession game down the stretch.
Well, and a huge tie-up, too, on SGA.
Yeah.
And won that tip.
Yeah, that's right. That was a really good point. And then especially impressive because he didn't have a good offensive game. I think he was...
Again.
Yeah, yet again, did not have a good offensive game. 3 of 11 from the floor, but, showed some aggression there in the third quarter, I think, when we needed it, that helped pick things up. And then, obviously, on the defensive end was just stalwart, so...
I know those threes are going to go
Kudos
down
to
for
that
him
dude.
at some point in this series for him, and I just I know we all want it so bad for him. Every time that ball goes up, we want it to go down, and it'll come. He's going to have a big one for us. Yep, he's way due.
A couple of things that I saw. All this basketball talk is fun, but something I saw off the court.
Okay.
Reggie Miller sitting courtside. I liked wearing a Mark Jackson jersey,
Yep.
which I thought was pretty
Oh, I
fun.
thought he was wearing a Tony Bradley jersey. No?
Then they were showing some of the old Pacers in the crowd. My favorite thing was they showed. My favorite one was Baby Al, who they. But my favorite part about that was, I love Baby Al, but B, he was talking to Austin Crozier, who was not introduced in the broadcast.
No, they mentioned him. They said, "Oh yeah, Austin Crozier was also there."
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They mentioned it. And
No
like
graphic,
Dale
at least, for
Davis
him.
was like in the background or whatever one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I thought you were going to say your favorite part was when Lance Stevenson was talking to Ron Artest, and it was just like,
You mean Meta World
all right, which
Peace.
one of us is the top knucklehead in Pacers history? Like, is it you or is it me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'll have to revisit that because they're just such a different brand,
I mean, knuckleheads come in all shapes and sizes, It's true.
Yeah, I think it comes down to definition, like a lot of these awards do. Like the most improved players, like who do you give it to?
Sure.
Yeah. Is the MVP the best player or the best player on the best team?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have to come to a consensus on that one, but I'm leaning Lance just because. But
shocking outcome there.
But Meta World Peace did some lasting damage to the organization as well.
Yes.
A little bit.
I was surprised to see Hibbert wasn't there. Usually he's at these games. Smits, maybe they're saving him for Game 4. The big tall guys for Game 4.
Yeah, that's where we're going to bring out the double big lineup.
Yeah. Nice. Shout out to the crowd too. The crowd was incredible. I thought the entire
incredible.
game. Just
always
willing that team when they needed it and getting rewarded with Obi Toppin put back dunks and
beautiful
Halliburton deep threes and and McConnell. 3 McConnells, he had the crowd going. Once he got a McConnell, I was like, oh, this crowd is just in.
Yeah. They're going nuts.
They're gonna love this.
Reggie would stand up every time, stand and cheer every time TJ did that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
That Obi Toppin the putback dunk, the most interesting thing about that to me was that Halliburton was right there and didn't even really react. I think everyone else in the building jumped out of their seat, and maybe he's seen too many of these. But
do you think he's been desensitized to the topping on rim violence?
Maybe, and that's no way to live, but
But did he get back on defense?
He did. I mean, he did. I will say also Halliburton had some decent plays on defense today as well. He's a rangy guy. He had that steal where I think he was the most open I've ever seen anybody.
Yeah.
On a single possession where there was no one
not
on
an
half the
intramural
court.
sport. He had to look over both shoulders. He's like, really?
He was like, wait, what? No, I must have missed something. Yeah, it was great. Another good moment from the game was after the game, Reggie Miller geeking out and getting his kids to take a picture with Tyrese Halliburton.
That was
which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. And their hand slap too was super cool. Just
yeah.
Reggie and Holly. But now that Reggie is free from the bias rules,
yes,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that five was very cool, man.
And then
this is ideal for Pacer fans.
Halliburton showing that he's a fan of the Undebeatables in a mic'd up section, talking to his dad and telling him he was out of pocket wearing jeans.
That's true.
I was like, hey, there you go. Very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. So, how are you guys feeling right now? Like,
cautiously optimistic. I mean, the same way.
Okay.
I mean, so I did not put this out there after game one because it felt jinxy at the time. But road teams who win game one in the finals are actually only about 50% chance winners.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'd think it would be higher than that when you steal game one in the finals as a road team, but it's not.
Right.
1-1 all time in the playoffs. Obviously, the odds are higher on that. I just think this OKC team is so good from top to bottom, organizationally, coaching, players, the group. Like, I fear this team.
Mm-hmm.
We have a ton of work to do. Have we put ourselves in an excellent position? Yes. But we've got to go out there and lay down a marker in game 4.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, I feel great. This is a really good win. I was kind of hoping we'd go out there and beat them by 20 today,
Yeah, that's what I was hoping
just to take a
too.
little wind out of the sails. And I don't even think you can do that to this team. That's the thing, right? Like, you're going to have to wear them down, like every game, like we did against SGA.
Mm-hmm.
It's 94 feet against this team. They're indefatigable. And it's going to be like that the whole series. And that's fine because I know how much heart our team has. But we've got to go out there and really push them to the limit in game 4. No part of me thinks that we're going to just walk away with game 4 easy, even at our house. No part of me thinks that. But we've got to do everything that we can to just give ourselves, a great chance to win that game. Being in a position where, they have to win 3 out of 5 is, it's the place you want to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other, silver lining, if you will, is that was a very physical and intense game, and games get more and more intense and physical as the finals go on. Game 4 is there's just one day off, so game 4 is on Friday, which is the first time that there's usually so far there's been 2 days off between every game. And so for OKC to turn around and do that is going to be tough, especially considering the minutes that. So it was interesting to me that this deep OKC team, it seems like Dagnall is starting to only trust 5 guys. Basically.
Like he went full Thibodeau.
Which is just really interesting to me. Like Aaron Wiggins, who tore us a new one in game 2, basically did not see the floor. And then he does kind of like, I don't know, grasping at straws moves. Like he throws, Jalen Williams, the bad Jalen Williams out there for like a 20-second stint. And then immediately he's like, no, that's a bad idea. Throws Isaiah Joe out there.
Wrong Jalen.
who hits he had turned around.
You knew what I
Didn't
meant.
notice. Wait a minute, what? That's not who I meant. Throws Isaiah Joe out there, who promptly hit 2 threes and looked pretty good, and then didn't see the floor again.
4
basically,
minutes,
so.
2 of 2 from 3, 6 points. Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, it would be interesting to see how they adjust that, in game 4. But he certainly, his big guys, their main 5 guys, saw a lot of burn tonight. So
Yeah, for sure.
And it showed. I thought Shea looked tired at the end.
I mean, all of their guys were, and even RJ on the broadcast was, these guys were taking their extra time on the floor to try and, get their legs under them. I'm sure that, they're the type of team that they're young to begin with. I don't think they're afraid of the challenge of playing 40 minutes every night, back to back, every day for a week if it gets them a trophy. But over time, your body, your mind do fatigue no matter how incredibly athletic and intelligent you are. And no one on our team played more than 36, and that was Holly. And I thought he paced himself pretty well, and they gave him a lot of, floor time off too. So well managed by a championship coach in Ricardo.
Yep.
I'll say that we one moment, I don't know if you guys caught this, it kind of struck me a little bit, was one of those, I think it was that when Miles Turner tied that ball up, but Pascal Siakam and Jalen Williams,
the good one or the bad one?
The good one. Okay. And by the way, I'm sure they're both good people, but but Jalen Williams and Pascal were, kind of shoulder to shoulder, ready to, battle for the ball after the tip. And Williams had kind of he was kind of chuckling, because I think Pascal kept, getting aggressive, getting position before the ball was thrown. And, was really taking it real seriously. And Williams had it seemed like an honest laugh about what's this guy doing? And then Siakam the ref came over, kind of break it up, and then Siakam just did the same thing again. It was kind of hey.
No, then he hit him in the kidney.
Right? He's like, oh.
He's like, I'm a really nice guy, but I'm definitely gonna mess with you.
Yeah. And, and it seemed to me it's Siakam was I know what it takes to win, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to do. And we on the Slack, for supporters of the show, if you're on the Slack, there's been some discussion Pascal Siakam. If you've seen him on social media, he does videos and whatever. He's such a just genuinely happy, smiley dude.
One of the most likable humans on the planet.
Absolutely. But for this jump ball, he's your family, your kidneys, they're mine. And this is just for a jump ball, so.
Yeah. Guy's a boss. Spicy P, baby.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go for 60 in the first quarter tonight, man. The way that he came out of the gate, I was man.
He was our only offense for the first 8 minutes or so. I think
we just weren't even trying to do anything else. Spicy P was just yes, please. Yes, please. Feed me.
Well, he would get these elbow jumpers, and he just so comfortable, and they're just nothing but net. It's all right, we can do this all day.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one super hard matchup problem for them. They don't really have a dude because he's bigger and stronger than Jalen Williams, and he's quicker than Chet. I mean, Caruso is the guy that defends him the best, I think, but he doesn't start the game, obviously. So,
but I mean, I gotta say, in as much as I agree with you, that's crazy to me. Everybody on that team can guard 1 to 5 somehow. That is such an incredibly good team. And Siakam is just picking them apart like at will. I that guy's amazing. He's so cool. I'm so happy, right?
Yes.
Colson, I miss you, buddy.
Yeah. So, but I'm feeling good, feeling again cautiously optimistic. I was feeling, I don't know, if greedy, maybe aggressively feeling as a fan.
Get out of my lane.
I was like, I was like, let's just come out. Game 2, I wanted them to just come out there and just take it there.
Sure.
They didn't, but at the end of the day, sort of worst case scenario from that split, of course, is now it's like, hey, you just win, you took home court, and so it's like, all right, well now, can we win the 3 home games? Mm-hmm. And if we do, then 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
What's weird is I keep subconsciously thinking about the next round.
It's like,
that's a good point. Interesting.
I've never had the opportunity, at least for the Pacers, to in my lifetime.
Yeah,
25 years hence,
that far
right?
ahead.
Like,
well, as I was watching this game, I mean, I felt after the conversation we had last night, and Colson was saying, I don't mind losing this team, but I want to at least play well, have my guys play hard and play well. And if we fall short, that's
Siakam
fine.
took that personally.
Yeah, but I was thinking, even as we were getting pounded in the third quarter, I was like, well, at least this is in striking range. We have a chance to win this, and that's kind of all you can ask for. And really, if we can do that and keep it within striking range going into the fourth quarter, we'd certainly have a chance to win. So,
yeah, I agree that it's getting into the fourth was close enough. With being in our house and with how we've been closing, if we're within reason, it's
that end of the quarter was a little scary though.
mm-hmm.
It was, but I will say, we mentioned it earlier, but the Pacers defense closing the game was it. They just did not allow for, even if we missed buckets, we didn't allow them to make a good run at the end of the game, and that was it. Yeah. And also, they missed some clutch free throws as well, which more than I expected. So good on the Pacers, good on the home fans for some clutch finals level.
Oh yeah,
defense.
The way that we closed, so it was at the 6-minute mark, Jalen Williams made a shot to pull it to 101 to 100, and from that point on, we outscored them 15-6. Right, they scored 6 points in the last 6 minutes of a basketball game.
Yeah,
7 points. Sorry, but that's just outstanding defense from a team that last year, if you would have asked me if this team could hold a team under 15 points in the last 6 minutes, I would have said, maybe they miss a few shots. Yeah.
Well, right. Not a team with the MVP, top 5 offense.
Right.
They're just not. They're not any team, right?
Right.
And it, when we go back and look at film, there's still plenty to improve upon. There were missed opportunities here. We could have played even better, and we're gonna have to in Game 4. Game 4 is gonna be a rock fight, man.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got the first tee in Game 4?
We had so many of these where we force a turnover and then just
Break
give it
back.
right back.
Yep.
2 seconds later, it was so. Yeah, there are things to clean up for sure. All right, Game 4 on Friday. I'm gonna be in the building, and it's gonna be bananas.
Increíble.
Oh yeah, I'll be there too.
Nice. Harper, you gonna stop off in Indy on your way back?
Shoot, I'll see about a parachute.
Yeah,
DB Cooper, that
very
shit.
excited. Very, very excited for Game 4. But I do expect. I expect this to every game to escalate until it doesn't.
As long as Charlie doesn't watch live, we should be fine.
Yeah, this is a
seems to be the key.
I'm so sorry,
quantity.
Charlie. I love you so much, but
I'll buy you the DVD box set.
yeah, totally. Shit, I'll buy you a freaking signed Holly jersey if we win the championship.
Yeah. Well, team, thank you so much for hanging out with us and listening to us wax slightly poetic about this awesome game and this awesome series, this awesome season, this awesome playoff run. And yeah, this is super fun. I'll tell you one last thing. I am just loving that all the basketball media is geeking out about our team. Like where, so much of the time where you get like kind of a passing mention here and there and no real dig into it, but then, it's like, hour-long breakdowns of how we're playing. And it's like, yeah, this team's super fun, isn't it? And getting that from everybody, all the writers, all the podcasters, all the TV people, they get to see what we see, 82 games a year. And I really enjoy that. So we get to spread the love.
Gots to do it.
All right, team. Well, any last thoughts, or just we heading back to your drawing board for Game 4? You got to get your notes sorted and sent over to Carlisle. You gonna post them on your burner Twitter accounts?
I mean, we're 4 games into a final series, man. These teams know who each other are, man. It's just going to be all effort, intensity, and grit at this point. So let's just get the hell after it and see where the chips fall.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Game 4. It's going to be a wild one.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
All right, well, until next time, you can find us on social media. We are on YouTube. Look us up on there. You can listen to all of our episodes there. We're on Twitter at Undebeatables, Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's a contact form there. Just, you can send us a message. Email, shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And over at the website /store for merchandise.
And for the architect, Donnie Walsh. Oh, who is happy right now. And our once and always Hall of Fame head coach Bobby Slick Leonard. Shout out to I'm blanking on her name. Slick's wife, who's always at all the games.
Nancy,
thank you.
Yep.
I wanted to say Sally, but I knew it was wrong. And it was. Shout out to those dudes. Shout out to Pritchard and Chad Buchanan and Reggie Miller.
And all the Undebeatables listeners. You guys are awesome.
And all of you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Turn out the lights. Party is over. Let's go, Pacers!
Yes, sirs.
Yes, sirs.
Did you like the message on the shirt?
Mm-hmm.
What did it say?
But this is Indiana.
But this is Indiana.
But this is Indiana. Yeah, my family was asking me about that. They're like, "What the hell does that mean?" Well, you have to know the rest of the saying.
Yeah.
In 49 states, it's just basketball.
But this is Indiana.
What a night.
Ugh, unbelievable.
So proud of these guys.
We went from the biggest win in playoff history to the biggest win in playoff history, like in the span of a week.
And the next win
I know,
will also be the biggest win in playoff history.
Yeah.
The good news about recording this show, my mind looked at the clock and said, "Hey, you go to bed." But I was like, I'm not sleeping anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. Huh?
That's right.
So might as well go do this.
Yeah. I didn't fall asleep till like 4 last night, and part of me thinks it's because I was so jacked about this game today.
Yeah, after I think game 1, I went to bed excited, and then not long after the game, where there's all these the articles start popping up, and video clips start coming up, and
Yeah, I went back and rewatched the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
After game one.
yeah,
I was like, I'm not going to sleep. And that was after we did a podcast. So,
there was tonight. My most rewatched stuff was the McConnell things. Just where it was like 2 possessions in a row when he would just yeah, he would do something good offensively, steal the ball, do something else
The most
good.
pacer. I love that guy.
He's the most pacer to ever pacer, I think.
That's so pacery.
That sounds like the basketball version of Smurfs at this point.
Pacery, make pacer.
We're going to pacer him up.
hey, pacer me that pacer.
I'll tell you what, too. I'll just I'll save it for the pod. How about that?
Man, we're already here.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You were listening to the I'll save it for the pod.
The next pod.
Yes. All right. On go. 3, 2, 1.
Back in day!